if you're ready to migrate, I'd like to talk for a minute about that process. And I want to tell you folks, we have done this thousands, literally thousands of times. We have migrated organizations, ERP applications, and data into the cloud. So we're pretty good at it. But I do want to walk you through the process. That's really a three-step process: assess and plan. We test it and do the migration, and then we do some optimization and management. We've done this, again, thousands of times. We've learned that through very careful planning, these moves go very well. I can tell you just off the top of my head and say we've migrated, 200 clients into Azure. I think there was one, there may have been two that we had some issues with that required us to roll back. Now, this happens within an hour or two, right? We roll back in the middle of the night. If we didn't tell you, you wouldn't even know that we did it. But that's less than 1% of the clients that we've migrated that were problems. So we've got a process that's pretty well tuned and proven. But I want to dig in a little bit. So the assessment process, we have a combination of tools and a lot of best practices that we've developed over time. We determine what applications can be migrated, people that would be impacted by it, how long it will take, and any dependencies of the application. Some applications are dependent upon another application. We'll put together a plan for what to do with those applications and set expectations for you regarding availability and functionality. I won't say all, but 99.9% of our migrations are done overnight. So let's just, as an example, we start at 8 p.m. Typically, when I say we've started 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks ahead of this, right? But we're doing some planning. But when we start the actual migration that impacts you, typically start around 8 o'clock at night. In most cases, we have to do some backups. We have to back up all your data right then, so we have current data. We reinstall the application in a new environment. We restore the data. And there's a lot of tools we use to do that. We don't do it manually. But that's a couple-hour process, and then we do some testing. So by 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, we pretty much know if everything went well, and almost always it does. If it doesn't, we still have time to either roll it back or fix the process and get it working right before your folks come in at 8 a.m. So the actual migration I mentioned, we back up, we reinstall the software in a new environment, we back up the data and then bring it back down. There's a couple of things we refer to here. We call it rehost, retire, replace, re-architect, and retain. So some applications would just say you need to rehost it. That's easy. Some need to be retired. We have a lot of clients running some applications that they're old, they're outdated. New versions of GP do that functionality, provide that functionality. So we just retire it. Some need to be replaced. It's an old application that needs to go away. And I'm not talking about GP because we have a very clear path for that. Some need to be re-architected. You might have some customizations that need to be changed to adhere to a new version or to work with a new version of GP. I mentioned earlier, if we're moving the application, even if it's GP 2013 and you have some customizations, they all come with you, right? You don't have to upgrade. And then finally, we do some testing around. We ask your folks to do some testing as well to make sure that the migration works well and you get access to the data. Then the final piece of our process is optimize and manage. We have a number of tools that we deploy. Take a look at your usage. I said earlier today that the cloud allows you to increase and decrease your compute resources to meet your business needs. So we have some tools that can automatically identify that process and then automatically enable that process. So this all results in the lowest total cost of ownership. We can adjust these things as is needed and move forward. And then lastly, we deploy the management tools that I talked about to make sure that that environment is secure, it's stable, and we keep eyes on it 7 by 24 by 365.